Well, gang, we're getting started. Good morning. Good morning. First of all, thank you for coming. It's great to see so many residents out for our first, quote, open forum in a long time. And I want to thank all the residents for the great job they've done in getting us through this coronavirus. You know, it's time for us now to start thinking about how do we get to our new normal? How do we get out of a coronavirus operation to a new normal within a coronavirus operation? Those of you that think we're not going to have any coronavirus in 2021 haven't been keeping up with things. It's going to be around, gang. It's going to be around. And we're going to have it, and we're going to have to learn to operate within it. And so our focus for the next month or two and coming out in early 2021 is to ask ourselves the question, and we need everybody's help, how do we get ourselves to a new normal operating within a coronavirus environment? And so that's the issue that we have to tackle, and we're going to tackle it, and between all of us, we are going to solve it. And so I want to thank you for all your cooperation, and I know as we go forward some more, we're going to continue to cooperate because we're all in this together. Now with that, I guess, Brant, what do you have to say, my friend?
All right, well, thank you, Don, very much, and welcome everybody. We're delighted that you were able to join us. We're going to start with our administrative reports, and the first thing we're going to share are the results of our employee engagement survey. During the month of August, Regency Oaks conducted an employee engagement survey for all of our residents across the campus, all product lines. We had a very good participation level. It was nearly 80%. So we were entirely pleased with the results, and we're here this morning to share an initial first look at those results. All right, the Regency Oaks Peak Communities Employee Engagement Report. So this was conducted by Holleran. As residents, you should be very familiar with Holleran. We've used them for many years. They have been used primarily for our resident engagement surveys, but it is the same organization. Things have changed just a little bit. You may recall that in the past surveys that we've used, there was that crazy NPS formula. And you know, on the NPS formula, the things on the right counted and the things on the left counted, and anything that was in the center completely disappeared. And so that was how you came up with an NPS score. And so Holleran uses something a little different. Every vote counts, and the categories are broken down into a score of 1 through 5. You can see they're color coordinated up there, and it starts a low score is a 1, and those would be individuals who are disengaged. Those associates are called resistors. The next level up is a 2, and those are individuals who are contributors. Those are people who show up, they do their job, they're satisfied employees, but they're just not going to go above and beyond. They're not truly 100% committed with the mission statement, the goals of the organization. They're not bad associates, they're just sort of hanging out. The top 3 levels, the endorsers in blue, the advocates in the gold, and the catalysts are the individuals who drive the organization forward. These are the people who are the movers and shakers and really make a difference in providing care to our residents across the campus. So here are the scores for Regency Oaks. I'm going to start with the benchmark right down there. It's the engagement index. We're going to look at the mean for Holleran. So Holleran has about 140 clients that they administer this test to. They are only CCRCs, so they are exactly like Regency Oaks, so that it is an apples-to-apples comparison. The engagement mean for the index of these 140 communities is 4.04. You can see Regency Oaks is right at the mean. Our engagement score was 4.00. So we were 0.4 of a percentage point off the mean. Now, just as a comparison, there were 17 of the CCRC communities within LCS that took the survey, and the average engagement mean for all of those communities was 3.86. So Regency Oaks finished a little higher than the average mean for the peak portfolio. And in fact, we were tied for, there was one community that was the top community, and then there were two communities that tied for second and third. Regency Oaks was one of the communities that finished in either second or third at 4.0. The high score in the organization was 4.16, and that was Freedom Square, our sister community down in Seminole. And it was sort of interesting. All of you are aware of the fact that Seminole has really struggled with COVID, and they've had some difficulties in dealing with that. But one of the side effects is, as an organization, as a team, going through that difficult period, really united and pulled that team together, and they developed a sense of camaraderie that was pretty significant. So great job to Lake Seminole Square, and we're really pleased to have finished with a 4.0. Now remember, that is on a 1 to 5 index. This is the quick high-level summary. There were 3 areas that we scored high in. I have respect for my supervisor, was at 4.35. That was our highest mean score. I know what is expected of me in my job. That was at 4.33. And provide best possible care was at 4.25. So those were the 3 highest scoring factors in the survey. And like with every survey, you have high areas, you also have low areas. The low areas for Regency was paid a competitive wage and my benefits cover my needs. Now, it's interesting to note that in all 17 of the LCS communities, the 2 lowest factors were paid a competitive wage and benefits cover my needs. And so we're going to have to put some energy into looking at that and evaluating what our associates are trying to tell us. I mean, to some extent, it is true that everybody believes they're underpaid and everybody would like to make more money, including me. But there may be something that is a little above and beyond that. Most of you understood that there was a recent ballot initiative that passed in Florida that was going to start to increase the minimum wage throughout Florida. Regency Oaks will be a part of that as well. And so our next steps, particularly on these low factors, is to go out and have listening posts with our associates. We will take the feedback that we received from the survey, share it back with the associates, and then ask them for clarification. So when you said this, what did that mean? And it gives us an opportunity to make sure that what we heard them say is in fact what they were telling us. Once that is done, we develop action plans, and then at that point, we will come back and share that with our residents and with the associates as well. Another one that was really low was received praise in the last 7 days, and that was 3.46. And so that was not very low, but it was We put it up there because it was one that gave us some concern. And so, just as you know that the meetings that we have on a monthly basis with residents have been suspended because of COVID all the way from February through August, the same thing was true with our associates. And so we were not having team meetings and our all-staff meetings. And so we haven't had that opportunity to get in front of our residents and publicly recognize them as frequently as we would have liked. And so we already have a couple of things that we're working on there to make sure that the people who make such a difference in the lives of our residents are getting the recognition and the praise that they deserve. So not every question that we ask is a driver. There are some questions that we did really well with, and these are the key drivers. This is what drives the overall satisfaction across the community. These were all high-performing areas for Regency Oaks, living up to our missions and goals. Our community cares for the staff, producing meaningful results, trusting our leadership. Physical safety is protected. We'll work here in 3 years. I make a difference here. Staff issues are resolved fairly. I'm given the training that I need, and that my opinion counts. And those are all of the key factors, and Regency Oaks had a score of 3.8 or higher in each and every one of the key drivers. So really good news, and we're pleased with what that tells us going forward with our teams. So we will get back with residents as we work through those action plans and come up with our next steps and what we're going to do to make sure that our associates are engaged and involved in actively taking care of the residents here at Regency Oaks. A couple of other updates that I wanted to share. Those of you in the north building, if you haven't seen, you certainly have heard the core construction that's going on in the on each floors as we are putting in upgraded Wi-Fi network capabilities. And so if you've poked your head into any of those centralized cabinets on each floor, you can see we're doing pretty extensive upgrades. We're running Cat 6 wiring through the entire building. The south will get their opportunity next as soon as we finished with the north. And what we are attempting to do is provide a high-speed, modern Cat 6 Wi-Fi alternative for residents. It's going to provide a quicker service, a higher quality, a better live streaming experience, whether you're on Wi-Fi or doing streaming into a device, and it's going to be at a more affordable cost. And so just as you pay for that service through Spectrum now, there will continue to be a charge. It's just you're going to get so much more value for what you pay, and we hope to be able to drive some of the costs down because we will be the provider of choice as opposed to a third-party outside provider. So we'll keep you updated as that goes along. Let's talk about flu shots. We have an awful lot of wood to chop when it comes to flu shots. To date, we only have 102 residents in the north and 63 in the south who have gone to one of our clinics or reported that they've had a flu shot from their physician. So that's well below 50% of our resident base, and that's not going to bode well for the coming flu season. So I know It's possible that if you've gotten a flu shot from your doctor or from CVS or one of the clinics outside of Regency Oaks, you maybe just have not taken the opportunity to call the front desk and let us know, but we want to encourage you to do that. When you get your flu shot, if you get it somewhere other than Regency Oaks, you need to let us know so that we can track these numbers and make sure that we work to get that herd inoculation that we need about 85% of our associates and our residents in order to truly make sure that the community is going to be safe from influenza this coming season. So please talk to your neighbors, pass the word, attend one of our clinics. We ran clinics in September and October. They have been discontinued, but because of the poor numbers, we're going to open them back up into November and give people additional opportunity to take advantage of receiving a flu shot right here. A new recognition program has been rolled out, and Sandra was going to share some of that with you today. You saw that was one of our low performing factors, and so it was an area that we wanted to give primary attention to. I'm not going to steal Sandra's thunder, and I'll let her present her program at the next forum in November, in December. But we are excited about this new program. It allows both residents and other staff members, supervisors, and peers to recognize outstanding performance and to acknowledge the good work of an associate. So we're excited about that. And then the one last thing is, I don't think Dave is here today, but our new therapy room in M. Mary 109 is underway, and Dave is organizing that and hopes to be able to open that sometime at the end of the month. So those are my remarks, and I'm going to pass it on to Sherry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sherry Shoitzo. I'm the Director of Financial Services. Welcome. Today's report, I am reporting on our September financial statements. I'm in the middle of closing October, so my report is a little bit lagged. But I am happy to report we had a positive net operating income. However, let's start with total revenue for the campus for September. We did have a shortfall of $41,000. However, year to date, our total revenue is ahead of budget by $250,000. We have received $778,000 for stimulus relief funds. That helps offset our revenue misses due to census in the health center. Our entrance fee sales, we had 3 sales on a budget of 4 for September. I can report that we did have 3 sales on a budget of 3 for October. Our total non-wage expenses were over budget by $54,000. We had some insurance and tax true-ups for the year at $138,000. $86,000 was part of the insurance and taxes. Marketing was a little over by 16. However, their year to date is under budget. So that kind of ebbs and flows as we change our marketing strategy month to month. Environmental services was slightly over by 2,000, and dining was over by 30,000, but that relates to the COVID supplies that were required for keeping us safe. We do continue to have weekly departmental meetings. We discuss our budget, our expenses, our labor, our overtime, etc. So year to date, our net operating income is ahead of budget by $170,000 year to date. So as you're aware, we have incurred some revenue losses and increased expenses due to COVID-19 virus. We do expect this to continue through the rest of the year, possibly and most likely part of 2021. However, the community has no significant threats or weaknesses at this time. Thank you.
Good morning. You guys hear me okay? Okay. It's not sounding this way up here, so I wasn't sure. I'm Gerard from the Health Center, and for the last month, Health Center's progressed very well. We're running full in the assisted living center. In the SNF center, we're running pretty high occupancy given the fact that we have to keep 14 beds open for observation. And I might have mentioned this before in another forum here, but what that basically means is anyone coming to admission to the SNF for 14 days, we have to consider them under observation for COVID for 14 days. So they have to be in a room by themselves. That's what kills the occupancy in the SNF. So when Sherry's yelling at us over there before about census, that's kind of what she's talking about, is those beds hold us down. So we're following the CDC guidelines in doing that. And then once they come off those observation beds, those residents are moved, and then we fill those beds with residents from the hospital again. So the SNF is doing very well. We're open now. We have visitation going on, and we talked about this at the Tuesday talk on Tuesday. Visitation is going on. The dining room is open. The beauty and barber is open. The doors are open going down to the SNF, so it looks like a full functioning health center now, which is kind of nice. The one minor concern out there is the productivity rate in the county of Pinellas is now over 5% on average over the last several weeks. And that's a factor we have to look at regulation-wise in the SNF. We have to look at that every week, every Monday, and pull that number. And if it goes over 5, now we have to go back to weekly testing of residents and staff for COVID. We were on a monthly cycle, and we now have to go back to weekly. So we have the test for that. We'll start that up this week. And then hopefully nobody pops positive with that. If anyone pops positive, then we have to cut back on the visitation and that kind of thing. So, but for the last several testings that we've done, no one has done it. We've kind of kept it very tight over there. Some people think we're a little too cautious over there, but we're doing it on purpose because one slippage can cause a problem. So, and that's what we're doing. So, and that's all I have. So if you have any questions or anything I can help you with, no? All right, thank you.
Hello everybody, Jesse Rosalie, your EVS Director. I'm here to report some accomplishments that we took care of for the month of October. One of the biggest accomplishments was what? Full housekeeping service. So we're very happy that we finally opened up, and we want to thank you overall for your patience and for taking advantage of everything that we had available to pretty much come up with the rest of the cleaning of your apartment. Besides that, we did wash all the cushions out on the tables by the fireplace next to us to your left. We also cleaned all the French doors on the first floor, north and south, breezeway area as well. We also refilled all the air fresheners in the restroom, and we're continuing to add more, hopefully soon. We also detailed the model rooms that we have in the cell center. We have 2 model rooms over there. We took care of those as well. Detailed them, dusted them, and took care of them as well, floors and everything. Besides that, we also cleaned the windows inside of both north and south dining rooms. The team that's pressure washing actually took care of the outside of those. So we're very thankful. Thank you, Darwin. Besides that, Clearwater Carpet was here. They finished the first floor, north and south. They shampooed the tavern. They did the South Grand Lobby, North Grand Lobby, Town Hall, and the exercise room in the South Building. Thank you.
Ricky Bacher, Johnny Hubbs, Phil Sirk, Food and Beverage. A couple updates here. We had our anniversary dinner, the cocktail party, the wine club, which is growing to a large amount. It's great. Beer club. And we also started our gourmets. We have 3 gourmets in November, and now we're opening up 3 more gourmets in December. So just sign up at the North Host Desk and the South Host Desk. And then lastly, for Thanksgiving, we're going to be opening up the tavern from 8 to 10 on Thanksgiving morning as a grab and go. You'll have a choice of either a cranberry muffin or a banana nut bread muffin and a coffee. And there's no dining in. It's just like we had a couple months back where you walk through, grab your little treat, and go on your way and watch the Macy's Day Parade, I guess. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks.
I'm Leslie Haas, your Resident Services Director. For the last month, we continue to have our Good Grief Support Groups meeting, our monthly Sharps and Prescription disposal, continuing to screen residents, visitors, and employees as they come on campus, maintaining the resident quarantine list, and working with our COVID task force. Assisted with the employee engagement survey, as well as the fabulous Halloween party, and continue to participate with the RO experiences. We did have the 2 CVS flu shot clinics this past month as well. And if you did get your shingle shots shingles shot at the flu shot clinic, we will be doing the second series shot on December 8th from 1 to 3 in the Wellness Center. I will be putting out notices in the next week so that everyone can get their consent form from me that needs their second series shot for shingles. That's it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Darwin Perez with Plan Operations. Here's some of the accomplishments that we did last month. We finalized the transfer switch for the generator on the north building. Finally, that was completed. Also, we had an annual sprinkler inspection, fire extinguisher inspection, and we had even the fire marshal here last week, and everything went great. So.
Good morning. In resident programs, we added Writing 101, as well as Pastor Chuck has returned to Regency Oaks for service. We're happy to have him. Our Get Out and Vote initiative was wonderful. Thank you for everyone's feedback, contribution. We did a wonderful job at Regency Oaks. As well as our RO anniversary dinner. We turned 29 this year. Yay! Our Old Guys Rule comedy show in the town hall was well attended. The League of Women Voters via Zoom was very well attended as well. Thank you, everyone. Also, David Predeza, our musical performance, and our RO Halloween experience. We always thank everyone for coming out, participating in all of our events, especially with COVID. Make sure if you are attending anything, just wear your mask, wash your hands, but we're looking to create our new normal, as Donna Fonte mentioned earlier, so we're just hoping to still have a great time, especially during the holidays. Thank you. Is it your turn now?
Well, it's time for some questions. Brent? I've been getting some questions from the residents, and they're concerned. They're concerned about modernization. They want to know what's going to happen to our town hall expansion. What's up with regard to the assisted living building? I know you've been having a hard time getting some information from LCS, but I was wondering if you could share what you have so the residents know what's happening in regard to the modernization.
So thank you, John. And we are making some progress on the town hall. We've already spent over $1 million on the town hall expansion. It's just been spent on things you don't see. And so all the engineering studies and the soil ground sampling and the permitting and the approvals from the various state organizations and county authorities and the architectural fees. So all of that is moving forward. We have been working on a conceptual design, and they do this a little differently than other development teams that we've worked with in the past, where you had an organized plan, and you put it on a piece of paper and you start moving things around. Their approach is a little different, and so they visited with us and got a list of our needs and requirements, and we shared with them the information that Lou Weislogo and his committee had put together over 2 years ago. We had like 14 must and another dozen would likes, and walked them through that process. And just this last week, they authorized the architect to take the next step, which is to do an initial rendering. So once I have that initial rendering, I will actually have something on paper that I can bring down, put up on the screens, and share with the residents and solicit your input. So I think we are making progress. Initially, I had hoped to break ground before January 1st. I don't think that's going to happen. We're running out of time. I think it's probably going to be a January break ground. You may have seen the contractors on site sort of penciling in their rough numbers for the construction cost. So we're making a lot of progress. You just can't see it because it's all the behind the scenes preparatory work. But this is going to move forward, and it should move pretty quickly once we get the conceptual drawing. The estimated construction time is 6 months. And so if we were to start in January, we would be looking at a July 1st grand opening for the Wellness Center and the Town Hall. In terms of the further build out of the campus, our assisted living and memory care, that you may recall back before or right after the pandemic, I think it was in the month of May, I believe LCS very wisely made the recommendation that we cannot attempt to do construction of this type in a skilled, licensed environment in the middle of a global pandemic, and they pushed it back to 2021. So I still believe that 2021 is the year that we will address assisted living and memory care. It is still in the budget. We know that HealthPeak has talked about it publicly in terms of its future construction projects. So I think that is positive as well. While I'm talking about HealthPeak, I just also wanted to take a minute to update you on an article that was recently in one of the local one of the national magazines that talked about HealthPeak diversifying a large portion of its senior housing portfolio. And that is an accurate statement. They are selling off all of their freestanding assisted living and independent living communities, and they are reducing their portfolio to just the CCRC models. It will reduce their senior housing division to about 8% of their total portfolio, but that entire portfolio will now be nothing but CCRC communities with multiple operators across the spectrum. We believe that is a good thing for Regency Oaks because it provides a very specific operator focus. It's only on CCRCs, which are stable communities that have not been impacted by coronavirus the way the freestanding independent living and assisted living communities have been. So good news, and as they've only announced the intentions, but as they start to spin these other communities off, I'll keep you updated and share with you the information as it comes in.
Well, thank you. Before you ask a question, I will get a microphone to you so everybody can hear your question. So what do we have with regard to resident questions, please? Coming your way, Bill. Hang on a minute.
I have a question on behalf of a resident who's been without some light in her bathroom and kitchen, sufficient light, for a number of months. Back in the time when maintenance couldn't do those minor things, so they went unrepaired. But now work orders have gone in and there's still no fixing of those, the lights in her bathroom and kitchen.
Okay. We should be getting to it. We just open up like housekeeping day this week, so we're trying to catch up. But by a couple of weeks, we should be able to catch up. Which apartment are you talking about? So I can make sure.
R411.
All right, make sure I'll follow up on that one.
Go ahead, John.
Jesse, when are you going to start the deep cleaning?
I'd love to start it as soon as possible, but as you can see, I don't have a specific date. I know that you asked me many times. I wish I had a date, but we're currently working on a game plan. As you know, there's a lot of work orders we have accumulated with deep cleaning. So we got to come up with a system and a plan. And that's something that Brent and I will come up with, and we'll be more than happy to get them all done by next year. Correct. Thank you.
Have a question over here?
Yeah, Brent, last night, 4 ladies talked to me. They went to the dining room and they were told they couldn't sit together. I think there's a real problem for single people. For example, if I take a lady to dinner, I can't sit with another couple. I can only sit with a married couple. We allow 6 people to sit together in the dining room if they're married. But 4 people that are not married can't sit together. That just doesn't seem right to me. Now, in the tavern, we've allowed 4 people to sit together that are not married. Why can't we allow 4 people to sit together in the dining room that aren't married? We have allowed 4 people to sit together. We play cards. We've allowed 75 people in here together. The chances of infection, I think, are no greater of 4 people sitting together at a table than 6, even though they may be married. And I just don't think it's fair for single people. Single people need to get out of the dining room just as much as married couples.
Okay, well, thank you, Lou. There you are, okay. Thank you, Lou, for the question. And let me just provide this update. So this is, this is driven by the CDC, the Center for Medicare Studies, ACA, the Department of Health, and we have a reopening plan that's been submitted and approved. It's based upon the guidelines that these agencies have put forward, and currently the requirement is no more than 3 families at any given table. The same is true for our elevators. There should be no more than 3 families in an elevator at any given time. And the reason it's controlled, very small spaces, and you're not wearing your mask. That's the exception for the card games. You can have 4 family members represented at a card game as long as they are wearing their mask. But when you sit them in a dining room environment and they don't have a mask because they are there to eat and drink, the restrictions are a little tighter. So we do not anticipate that changing in the immediate future. I recognize that it is an imposition on our single residents, and it makes it a little bit harder. But I'm also really pleased that they now at least have an opportunity to eat in the dining room, and maybe not with all of their friends, but certainly with at least 2 other individuals at that table. So we'll continue to monitor that. I will address with Ricky the belief that we have 4 people of 4 different families in the tavern. That is against our standard, should not have happened. If it did, we apologize. We certainly will make sure it doesn't happen going forward.
Chris has a question.
It just doesn't seem fair. The rules. I understand that the contact between 6 people is obviously much greater than the contact between 4 people.
That's not true. That's just not true.
Look at the room here now. We got people sitting up front with no masks on.
Well, yeah, but Lou, if you're on the panel, we maintain good social distancing. We're on the panel. If you're on the panel, you can take your mask off to talk. But here's the other thing. This has always been the case. We are taking a higher elevated risk by getting here, but right now our standards or we can open this up in a large group setting up to 100 people as long as we have social distancing and mask wearing. And so we're meeting the requirements of CDC in order to have a group meeting. And so I completely understand nobody likes these restrictions, but we're doing this to make sure that we're safe. Our numbers have borne out to demonstrate that the policies that we've been adhering to that are set by the key agencies are effective, they are working, and residents at Regency Oaks are safe. And I completely understand that it's an annoyance and it's inconvenient and that you don't like it, but you also are safe.
Chris has a question over here.
I was wondering what the results were for how heavy the pumpkin was. And also, where did it go?
I'll be announcing it shortly. Very soon. We have a winner. And it's back in the patch.
All right, what else we got? Good morning. How are you?
I don't know, this is just for my apartment alone, or? Can't hear you. I don't know whether this is to my apartment alone, or other people have the same situation. My kitchen light and the other light, sometimes it comes up, it's bright, sometimes it's dark. I cannot really read anything in there. I don't know why it's causing that. And it's been going on for a long time.
Go visitor. Go visitor.
Thank you.
All right. I think it's the light bulbs that we use, those new ones, the energy-saving light bulbs. So when they light up at first, they usually light up not as bright, and then with time they get brighter. But I'll stop by your apartment and visit you and we'll take a look at that, all right?
Coming up to Eugene, hang on a minute.
Have a question over here?
Hello? Back on the flu shots we're talking about, do the associates get flu shots? Do we control that? Do we record it?
Yeah, absolutely. Our associates do participate in the flu shots. Not only are they provided at no cost, they also get some perks for participating. They get a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and I think they get $10.
If you go to Publix.
Go to Publix.
But you can get it free here.
But it's no charge. We want all of our associates to take the flu shot. Last year, we had over 95% participation. We fully anticipate getting a 95% participation this year as well.
I went to Publix and got $10.
You got your $10? Okay.
All right, Joe.
I think everyone should get $10.
Brant, I just wanted to mention that next Tuesday, I don't know what'll happen with Tuesday Talk, but Dining has set us to sign up for Thanksgiving at 11 up in the North Dining Room, and you start in here at 10:30. So we're either going to be walking out early or not coming.
We'll reschedule that. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Okay, thank you.
We'll get a corrected memo out today.
Good morning. My name is Emilio Petty. I live in M413. We've been here about 6 weeks. I think you have a wonderful, wonderful organization here. My own personal observation, and my wife also. Let me give great praise to these fellows here who handle the food. I was in the hospitality business for 41 years. I had 5 restaurants, a hotel, and a convention center. So I know a little bit about the business. Let me tell you, your food here is excellent. We're next to soup. It's the things that I see you can improve on your employees. More recognition, more prizes, more incentives. Because there was no professor 69 years ago said to me, you're only going to be as good as the people that work for you. And I have never forgotten that. So you got good people and you give recognition, they'll do their job. Also, I have an accounting background. Can I get a copy of the statement? I would appreciate that. We thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.
Bill has a comment.
Grant, if Health Peak divests themselves of standalone assisted living, what might happen to our contracts with some of the surrounding assisted living facilities that we have used?
So, yeah, I'll address. So, Bill's asking if with HealthPeak getting rid of their freestanding assisted living, how is that going to impact those communities that we typically in the past had referred to for memory care or assisted living? So, if you needed memory care, or if you were a couple and needed assisted living, we used to have the ability to refer you out to a Brookdale partner community, and there were 5 or 6 of them within a 1 to 2 mile radius. And with Brookdale, with the change from Brookdale to HealthPeak LCS, that ability went away. LCS has never had freestanding assisted living communities in the Regency Oaks marketplace, but to reassure residents, that process still exists, it's just informalized. And so if you need memory care and it's not available locally through LCS, I can reach out and have a one-on-one conversation with one of those old Brookdale partners or whoever you have some interest in, and see what I can do contractually. We're their best friends because I have the ability to refer a private pay patient paid by Regency Oaks, and they are more than happy to accommodate our needs. So there's still a process in place. It's just a little less structured than it was with Brookdale.
Any other questions, Sam? Well, thank you all for coming. It's been a great meeting. Appreciate your involvement.